Hello again, everyone. Edwin Lerman back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about Pluto in conjunct Chiron in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects of the natal chart. They're a little bit concise. Some people may refer to them as snappy, so what I decided to do is make another series on them, in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is if you have Pluto in conjunct Chiron in your natal chart, an adjustment, which is the inconjunct, may be needed between activities with what you have a strong passion and desire for, which is Pluto, and helping and healing others, which is Chiron. Now, one or the other may be overemphasized. The key is to find balance and equilibrium between the two. So the thing is, if you have this aspect, it could indicate that you may at times be dominated, by things you have the strong passion and desire for, to the expense of helping and healing others, or you may, helping and healing others may monopolize your time and energy so much to the exclusion or expense to the things you have a strong passion and desire for. So, the key is to find, again, the balance, the equilibrium, and the harmony with the energy, because you could have a lot of vacillation and fluctuation with inconjuncts that can be very extreme energy. So, let's say, for example, if you have Chiron and Aries in your natal chart, you may help and heal others simply in matters with, identity and helping, the person find a place in the world. It could be issues with aggression, assertiveness, forcefulness, ability to start projects and endeavors. It could be new beginnings, doing things with little hesitation and procrastination as some examples. Now, another thing too, Pluto in conjunct Chiron in the natal chart can also indicate that an adjustment, which is the inconjunct, may be needed between activities associated with intimate relationships, shared resources situations, which is Pluto, and healers, which is Chiron. You may be dominated by one or the other. So, this could indicate that, you may be so dominated by activities connected with intimate relationships, and those in shared resources situations, to the expense or exclusion of healers at times. And then you may be, at times, you may be dominated by activities with healers to the expense or exclusion of those activities associated with intimate relationships and shared resources situations. So, again, the key is to find the balance, the equilibrium, and the harmony with this energy. And so, let's say, for example, if you have, Pluto in, let's say it's in Virgo, one or more people you're in intimate relationships with, even though it's a generational planet, one or more of those people may actually be a Virgo sun, moon, or ascendant person, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be people that are very, systematic, methodical, organized, scrupulous, proper, reliable. It could be those that have an ability to compartmentalize, but can also be very, those people may be very analytical and punctilious with details, but can also be rather pedantic, critical, judgmental, and cynical as well. Now, also, too, there may be too much or too little passion, desire, and emotional intensity, which is Pluto, associated with matters with helping and healing others, which is Chiron. So there may be times when it could be an exorbitant amount of, that passion, desire, and emotional intensity for helping and healing others, and other times you may lack it, whatsoever. There may be none, whatsoever in those matters. So it's about, again, finding the balance and the equilibrium with that energy. Now, if Chiron, say, is in Taurus as an example, you may help and heal others through matters. It could be with being persistent, having patience, having more perseverance. It could be in one's monetary situation or resources or possessions, as some examples. And the thing about this aspect as well, another way it may manifest is that Pluto-related people may either be extremely, advantageous or no help whatsoever in matters pertaining to depleted self-esteem, which is Chiron. So at times these Pluto-related people can be very beneficial in those matters, and other times they just might not be any help at all. It doesn't mean they're necessarily detrimental. They could be. Those matters, they may make things worse in some instances as far as depleted self-esteem. There's been a lot of cases they just may simply not be around or no help to you in those matters. Now, Pluto-related people can cover a number of persons, whether it's those you're in intimate relationships with, shared resources scenarios with. It could be people that are in Plutonian, related fields, whether it's coroners, surgeons, those connected with the occult, which includes astrology, people involved with insurance, loans, recycling, forensics, investigation, deep research, psychologists, as some examples. And if you have Chiron in Gemini as an example, matters with depleted self-esteem may be associated with one's intellectual or cerebral ability. It could be, matters with disseminating, assimilating information. It could be doing things with manual dexterity, whether it could be auto, some examples, auto or refrigeration mechanics. Now also too, mentoring and teaching, which is Chiron, may either be exceptionally auspicious or no help at all to one's legacy, which is Pluto. And it doesn't mean that you don't, it could mean that times where, mentoring and teaching others can be extremely, advantageous in terms of one's legacy. But how one may be remembered by, but other times, in some cases, just may not be beneficial to it. It doesn't mean you don't mentor and teach as a result, but you still, because mentoring and teaching can still be beneficial, in many ways, of course, helping other people assimilate information. Now, if you have Chiron in Aquarius, you may mentor and teach others, in astrology or computers or electronics or innovation, new technology, meteorology, aviation, even rocket science in some cases. Also, too, this aspect can indicate either tremendous ease or difficulty. Mentoring and teaching, which is Chiron, in Plutonian fields, whether it could be psychology, recycling, insurance, forensics, or the occult, which includes astrology. Now, it doesn't mean that, you can at times have very ease in doing this, but there may be times where it's more difficult. It doesn't mean that you wouldn't have the ability to teach at times, but it could be getting other people to kind of listen to what you have to say, regarding, those matters. Now, if Chiron is in Sagittarius, as an example, your mentoring and teaching will be done with more exuberance, enthusiasm, expansive energy. It really emphasize more, if this is done more in higher education or even in a foreign country in some instances. Now, also, too, this aspect may be very auspicious, for Pluto-related people, helping you deal with the deepest wound, which is Chiron, or it could be very inauspicious. Now, it could be that, at times that Pluto-related people can be very propitious in you dealing with that deepest wound, which is Chiron. Other times it just may not be available. If the Chiron is in the zodiac sign Cancer, as an example, that deepest wound may be tied in with home, family-related matters pertaining to safety and security, or getting preparation for the latter part of one's life. It could be matters with expressing unconditional love, ability to nurture, as some examples. Also, too, if Chiron is retrograde, issues with wounds may be more suppressed, and there may be more of an emphasis on self-healing in contrast to Chiron being direct in a natal chart. So, if there's, let's say, if Chiron is in Leo and it's retrograde, as an example, there may be issues that are more suppressed, that are connected with lack of attention or being lauded and praised, getting accolades for one's achievements, as some examples, or maybe some issues with children, that are more suppressed. And, there may be issues in the physical related, level that might be connected, with the heart or the spine or the upper back. And there may be more of an emphasis on self-healing in those matters compared to Chiron direct in the natal chart. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Learned saying, stay well.